we are going to move right along. We've got this very full day, which is very exciting. And one thing we've all sort of talked about is, in the uncertainty of what's next, still planning and making moves and building ideas in this time and in this space. So we're so excited to have the this pitch session here at Wavelengths, which we've done for many years. I believe Karine, I think I met her when she did pitch at Live Wavelengths 2 years ago. So it was exciting to see her here as well. But today we're going to be doing pitch sessions. Basically, what this will mean is that the speakers will have 2 to 3 minutes to sort of share the projects that are on the horizon for them. There will be time for questions either with them or in the chat. And then we're going to continue those conversations into the meet and mix at 5 o'clock. So we're going to get a primer on some of these amazing programs, and then we're going to keep the conversation going. And the first person who is speaking is someone who's been very active in the chat and obviously very active with globalFEST as one of the co-founders and co-directors. It's Mr. Bill Bragan.
All right, hello everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to pitch. I just want to start by acknowledging that the artist that I'm pitching about is here with us, Ghazi Al-Malefi. So if you've got questions or want to find out more, ask him, not me, and he's here in the chat. But I thought that we would want to just do this a little bit from the presenter's point of view. I moved to Abu Dhabi from New York about 7 years ago. And those of you who have been coming to globalFEST or seen my work in other places know that one of the things that I'm very interested in artistically is hybrid forms, artists who are working with music that really deeply resonates with their local traditions, but puts it in dialogue with the kind of the rest of the world. And when I got to the UAE, I found that I wasn't finding a lot of artists who were actually doing that. It was within my first year here that Ghazi came. He is now actually a visiting professor and has completed his PhD, and he's teaching here at NYUAD. But at the time, he was a doctoral student, and he was working with a group from Kuwait called Mayuf Majali, who are a group that performs music. I'm gonna just sort of talk a little bit with some screen sharing at the same time and hope that this works. So this is the sort of the bio of the band. Boom Dewan that I'm talking about. But Mayuf Majali is a group that was sort of central to his research looking at traditional pearl diving music. Within the Gulf, pearl diving was a staple of the economy, and all the boats that went out to sea were accompanied by a song leader, and song was essential. There were songs for spiritual songs, there were songs for protection and orientation, both literal and spiritual. Before they went out, there were work song traditions, and there were also an entertainment repertoire, kind of as they spent a long time in port. One of the things that I've learned a lot from Ghazi is he often describes the music as extra Arab, and it's a cosmopolitan music that relates to the sea and the exchange between the Arabian Gulf, between East Africa, between India, between Persia and other parts of the Arab world. And so I was really interested in that. The first time I heard it, sort of my mind was blown. I heard connections to Ganawa music, heard connections to Afro-Brazilian music, and so on. The next step within that, and we just sort of got to know each other, him as a scholar, ethnomusicologist. Then I went with a class from the university to Kuwait, and I heard Mayuf Majali in their Diwaniyah, which is the salon where they transmit the music and collect it. And then he also debuted a new band that mixed electric guitar, he's a guitarist and a composer, with some of the drummers from the band. And I was like, this is exactly the kind of hybridized work that I was super interested in. In parallel, I started reading a book by Ned Sublette, Cuba and Its Music, that surprised me because it started with music from the Arab world rather than starting with music from Africa, and made that connection. And I've been thinking about how can I connect music from the Americas, and started thinking about that. and then had a meeting with Arturo Farrell, who was also involved in the Fandango of the Wall, a lot of little threads here, and started sharing some of the pearl diving music that I had discovered through Ghazi with Arturo. Long story short, he immediately started seeing the connections to Cuban music as seafaring music, and we conceived together to create a project called the Cuban Khaliji Project. And Ghazi and Boum Diwan were part of that, as well as Yaz Ahmed, who's a Bahraini trumpeter who also draws from some of this tradition from Bahrain, Malika Zara from Morocco, and Ali Obeid, who's an Udist from here in the UAE. That concert was revelatory, and there were all of these new connections. The entire thing is on YouTube, so I encourage you to look for it on the NYU Art Center channel. And it was a really spectacular success, and we wanted to do more. Long story short, the relationship between Ghazi and Arturo continued to develop, and they recorded during the lockdown as part of the Virtual Birdland series that Arturo was doing, just online collaborations, and that was subsequently released on Arturo's Virtual Birdland album, which was nominated for a Grammy. So it's the very first recording for Boum Diwan, and it's on a Grammy-nominated album. And we want to see that tour more everywhere. Following up on that, in the sort of COVID plan, we had planned to sort of extend this idea of Boum Diwan. The boom evokes both the sound of the drum, but also the dhow, the ship that was part of the pearl diving trade. The diwan is the salon where you receive guests. And so the idea we started to explore together was that we would do more projects where Boum Diwan would always be in dialogue with artists from other traditions. And we eventually centered on the South African jazz pianist Nduduzo Makhathini, and had planned for just about a year ago to have them in concert, co-write together and create a concert together. Of course, the world didn't allow that to happen, and they turned that into a video collaboration recorded in 3 different countries in between the UAE, Kuwait, and South Africa. It was a half-hour suite called Minarets, which was also really just super moving, real proof that when you can get out of the sort of the doldrums of the way that our work has been interrupted, can actually be really generative. And it was an incredible project that then subsequently has been released as a recording. And Bryce loves Nduduzo, and he was the one, as I was brainstorming, Bryce Rosenblum was the one who actually said, you should check out Nduduzo. He might be the guy you're looking for. So thank you, Bryce.
Thank you, Bill. I want to make sure that we're just keeping track of time.
So that the album, the EP of that project has now just been released. They have still never met in person. It's been going on just virtually. We're really hoping that both of these projects, Cuban Khaliji Project with Arturo Farrell and the Afro-Latin Jazz Orchestra, and Minarets, will have live expressions all around North America, hopefully eventually in the UAE. That's it for me. I'm going to post a bunch of links in the chat. And Ghazi is smiling there. He's wearing a striped shirt, and it's nighttime where he is too.
Thank you so much, Bill. And again, we're going to keep that conversation going in the chat as well. And we're going to move right along to Leslie Macedo, who's joining us today as well. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see many of your faces and names. I'm Leslie Macedo. I am coming to you from the Mama Dele Foundation, and you can go to the next slide. We have a bunch of artists on our roster that are all Afro-Brazilian ensembles led by the master percussionist Dende Macedo. I want to focus mostly on Dende and band, and you can actually, well, we have Dende and band, which is Afro-Brazilian global music, that sort of fusion that that Bill was talking about, Ologunde, which is an Afro-Brazilian folkloric, so extremely traditional music and dance. And Recycled Sounds, Dende is also an inventor and an instrument creator, and he does a solo performance that he's also interested in doing collaborations with other artists on. So if you move to the next slide, I can show you a little bit of the music. Dende and Band has an album that's coming out on Rope-a-Dope in April 2022, and they will be touring, hopefully, April, May, into the summer and fall. For those of you who are interested, I will drop my contact information into the chat, but you can move on to the next slide and play a little bit of the music from the new album. You guys are the first to see it. No one's seen this video yet.
Ô, Doia! Salve, Iemanjá! Salve, mãezinha! Mãe de todos os oris! Ô, Doia! Eu canto pra ela em lua cheia, maré cheia. Pescador veio avisar pra levar a oferenda pra Iemanjá. Eu canto pra ela em lua cheia, maré cheia. Pescador conta 7 ondas pra salvar a rainha do mar. Balaio enfeitado, espelho pra ela. Balaio enfeitado, rosa branca pra ela. Balaio enfeitado, sabonete pra ela. Iemanjá, Iemanjá.
This is the next project, which is Recycled Sounds, and this is a demonstration of what Dende does with his recycled instruments with a partner. So those of you who are artists on the call who are interested in partnership, those of you who are interested in presenting, this is a collaborative opportunity. So if you could play the video, please. All right, I think you got the idea of that one. The last group is Ologunde, which is our folkloric group. In the interest of time, I didn't share a video for this one, but they have performed all over. They've been around for about 20 years. Many of you have presented them. Moving forward, I just wanted to mention also that we do a lot of educational programs. Dende is a master Afro-Brazilian percussionist. And he can teach youth and adults. He does lots of clinics all over the world and teaches. Our foundation supports programming here in Philadelphia, where he does extensive residency programs in the Brazilian community. He also does educational programs with his Recycled Sounds program, where he teaches students how to look through their trash and find instruments to, or find materials in order to make instruments. And then they perform together as a trash orchestra. So here's some footage of him. Those are some of the instruments that kids have made in projects with him previously. And so I'm gonna drop my contact information in the chat and a link to Dende and Band, which is our primary focus right now. But if you're interested in any of the projects that we have, yes, they were at La Casita. Those pictures were from La Casita for Ologunde. So thank you. It was so good seeing all of you. And I hope to connect with all of you soon.
Thank you so much, Leslie. And thank you for sharing these projects and some really transformative work, both physically and emotionally. So it's really
I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. And up next, we have the Folk Alliance International, I believe Alex, Marissa, I'm sorry, Marissa Kolka will be speaking. Thank you.
Hello. I am Marissa Kolka from Folk Alliance International. I'm our communications manager. And today I want to talk to you all about our upcoming conference, the Folk Alliance International Conference, which is the world's largest gathering of the folk music industry and community. It was originally scheduled this year for February, but it is now happening May 18th through 22nd, both virtually and in person in Kansas City, Missouri. But today specifically, I really want to talk about the online portions of our conference and just to let you all know how to get involved. So over the last few years, quite a few years now, our conference has really increasingly become home to more genres and countries. In 2020, at our New Orleans conference, we had 41 different countries represented. And then last year during our virtual conference, we had 35 different countries represented. So we're really excited because the virtual conference especially opens up a totally new opportunity for folks to be involved globally from wherever they are. And something that is really special that happens at our conference every year in person is our private showcases, which if any of you are familiar with the conference, if you've ever been, I'm sure you remember, they're basically community hosted listening rooms that happen in the hotel bedrooms until like 4 a.m. People remove the beds, they bring in their own decorations, and then they book artists to perform. And it's a really beloved event at the conference. It's a super special experience. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of bring a little bit of that aspect into our virtual conference. So we are going to be having virtual private showcases where anyone can present a showcase or tune in from wherever they are in the world. They run between 10:30 p.m. and 9 a.m. Central to the following day. And to get involved, all you have to do is register for the conference, for the virtual aspect anyway. For registering online, it's pay what you can, which starts at $50 for non-members and as low as $0 for Folk Alliance members. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to folk.org/join to find out about membership. And then there's a listing fee that then allows you to have a block within the online conference platform to post a live stream or pre-recorded showcase link. The cost for that is $15 for Folk Alliance members and $30 for non-members. And then we'll send you a form to provide a link to either that live stream or pre-recorded showcase. And last year, a lot of people did live stream, a lot of people did pre-recorded, in which they were able to do a little bit higher production level. It's totally up to you. Both options, there's a chat alongside it, which as an attendee, someone watching the performances, it was super cool to see my favorite artists and talk about it in the chat with my friends who I haven't seen in a while. So it almost felt like we were all there together. So I think it's a great way to experience online content for sure. Yeah, so attending virtually is a really wonderful way to meet the folk community without the challenges and the expense of having to travel in person. And I personally think it's a really great way, if you've never actually attended our conference before, it's really awesome to just kind of check it out, see what the vibe is like, see if the content is interesting to you, if you think that attending the conference would be beneficial to you, and then you can decide to attend in person in the future. And this year we hope to have somewhere between 1,000, 2,000 people online tuning into the showcases. But it's not just showcases. As a conference, we also have panels, we have workshops, we have networking sessions, which are all really great online as well as in person. And the panels this year will be either pre-recorded or they will be live streamed directly from the in-person conference happening in Kansas City. And then we also have the official showcases that will be happening at the conference in Kansas City, and they'll be recorded and available for viewing the following day for all of our online attendees. So anyone attending online won't miss out on those awesome performances as well. Yeah, and we've worked really hard to consider the experience of our virtual attendees. I know that everyone's probably super burnt out from attending virtually for 2 years now almost. So we've really put some thought into how to make it a really engaging experience. Our online platform is really nice, in my opinion. It was pretty cool to navigate last year, and it felt like, you know, we were really back at the conference, even though I was sitting on my couch. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. You can also visit folk.org/conference to find out more information. My colleague Alex is also here, so if you have any questions for him directly as well, he's our director of development, so he can also help you out if you have any questions. Let us know, and we really would love to see you all there.
Perfect. And yeah, I think Alex was putting some links in the chat as well as you were speaking. So a lot of helpful things there. Thank you so much, Marissa, for sharing. And so as you were speaking, I was just perusing the Folk Alliance website, and it's really thrilling to see what you guys are putting together. So
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited.
absolutely. And we will move right along to Danielle Devlin, who's right below me in the spotlight, and I will let her take it away.
Yeah, so there's a short video. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be here. I'm here in Ireland, so I don't know if we want to start with the video maybe, just real quick. Hi, this is Danielle with Canis Major Music. You can find us at canismusic.com. That's CANIS music.com. This year, we were incredibly proud and honored to be a part of the Tiny Desk Meets globalFEST series with our beloved artist, Kiran Alwalia. Kiran hails from India by way of Canada and New York City, and she was joined by her musical and life partner, Rez Abbasi, who hails from Pakistan. In addition to Kiran and Rez, we have another globalFEST alumni on our roster, and that would be the artist Iberi from the country of Georgia. If you remember a few years ago, they are a 6-piece polyphonic choir who accompany their singing with traditional instrumentation from the region. We also work with artists from the countries of Ireland, Scotland, Finland, Sweden, Jordan, Senegal, and Anglophone and Francophone regions of Canada, and of course the United States as well. So we hope you're enjoying your Wavelengths conference, and we'll look forward to connecting with you soon. One thing we really love working on here is outreach and education in communities as part of a tour, and most of our artists are incredibly well-versed in offering all sorts of opportunities to connect within your communities. Again, you can find us at canismusic.com, and I'll look forward to connecting with you soon. Enjoy. So so here I am in Ireland seeing some new music, and a couple of my artists are also performing here, Keela and Karen Casey. I also work with the Vagabonds from Ireland, and we have them touring in March, April, and then again in November. Karen Alwalia, now that she's New York City based, we have her touring all over North America throughout the summer and into next year. Also her partner Reza Bassi, I work with him on his jazz projects. We have him touring in California in May, and also I think in April, it looks like we might have some dates as well. So a lot going on. Keela, we had at Folk Alliance International in New Orleans, had a wonderful, sort of slew of dates on the calendar for them in Canada and in the US for 2020. And of course, we know what happened there. So it's great to be here and see them live again. But really, I just want to say, sort of call out to both Folk Alliance since they're here, and what a great support and community they really are, and how they really foster so many just sort of wonderful connections. And the same thing with globalFEST. Like, I'm incredibly honored to be here. And I think that really it's these connections and support that have kept me going. Certainly I've been in some dark times this winter for the first time ever. And it's all of you that really have lifted me up and helped me keep going. I'm not one of those people that got the SVO grant, so it's been really challenging. But I love this organization. I love globalFEST. And I love Folk Alliance, and it's just wonderful to see everybody here. So I'll stop it at that, because really people know me. There's my email, and you know me, and you can reach me anytime. So thanks.
Amazing. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you for putting the contact information in the chat there. And if anyone's interested, we were so thrilled to present Kieran this year in Tiny Desk Meets globalFEST. We had wished we had done it in person as well, but excited that the Tiny Desk opportunity was there, and that we were able to party virtually. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're going to move right along with Okan. And I'm the person presenting. Do not have a name. Oh, it's Juana Ermida from Lulu World Records. So welcome. So happy to have you here.
Hello, everyone. So nice to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. Okan is so great. I just started seeing the comments. So we have a video. Is it okay if you can play it for a little bit? And then I can talk about, thank you.
Okan means heart in our Afro-Cuban dialect. It resumes what we are, what we do, and what we want to do. And we do this with our hearts. Ahuma waori, ahuma waori, awa osum, awa oma, leri oma, leyawo, bobo egun kawe.
Yeah, so thank you for watching. That was Okan, a very special band, an Afro-Cuban roots and jazz group based in Toronto. My name is Juan Hermida, and I represent Lula World Records and Lula Music and Arts. And I'm also part of the management team of this fantastic group. So we released two full-length albums, and we were super honored to be awarded with the Juno Prize last year. Before COVID hit, the band toured in the US and also in Canada. And coming up in 2022, they have planned West Coast and East Coast tours in around the month of October. And what they love to do during these workshops, the Okan loves to also have workshops as part of their tours, where they promote and talk about Cuban culture, women in percussion, and also sharing the love for music and for kids. They just released a new single. It was actually an exciting release. It was our first release of the year. So I invite you to check it out. It's called Yamanya. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Yeah, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And you can also learn more about the band at okanmusic.com. I'll leave the link in the chat. And yeah, we'll love to talk more about them. And I hope you guys have a very good rest of the day. I think you're muted. Yep.
I am. I was muted. I just wanted to thank you for sharing with us and for joining us here today. We're going to move right along to Jim Thompson, who's been active in the chat today, and we're so excited to have him pitching with us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. It's good to see everybody. I'm Jim Thompson. I'm in Washington, D.C. I have a label, Electric Cowbell Records. I have a live music production and touring company called Multiflora Productions. Things have slowed down quite a bit for me. I've been doing some film work on the side, but I'm still involved in music production. This year, I'm only pitching two artists, two groups from Ethiopia. The first one is Fendika. Many of you are probably familiar with them. I know Bill Bragan has worked with them a lot. The leader, Malaku Belay, he's run the Fendika Cultural Center in Addis Ababa for years now. It's a cultural center. It's a meeting place for musicians and dancers and artists from all over Ethiopia. Malaku is a dynamic performer, and I'm sure a lot of people can attest to that. And he's pretty much the ambassador for Ethiopian music and dance all over the world. He does workshops. I can provide anybody with his PowerPoint presentation. He's great with students, talking about the history of Ethiopian music and culture and dance. I pretty much think he can do every dance from every tribe in Ethiopia. And the group that he travels with are Asmari musicians. So they have traditional Ethiopian instruments like krar, masinko, and Malaku does a lot of costume changes and represents different dances from all over Ethiopia. So you can play a little bit of a clip from what a live show would look like. So, you know, that's a kind of middle of a concert there. And if anybody has any questions, or I will leave some links there for more information on Fendika. And again, just email me if you want to see what any of his workshops look like. I'll put these down in the links for some more video. And yeah, so the other artist I want to talk about, I have not brought him to the US before. It's Girma Yeshua, and he is from Addis. He learned originally to play music on the krar, the traditional Ethiopian harp type instrument. He spent many years in Sofia when he turned to piano. So Girma is really special. He has a lot of Ethiopian, the pentatonic scales, the culture is all in his playing, but he's really a classical musician. And so I'm offering, presenting him as a solo artist. So it's better, we need at least a baby grand piano or a grand piano for any presenters out there that are interested. I would say that Girma kind of really holds a sacred space when he performs. He's a really special artist. I mean, you're going to hear Schumann and Schubert and Chopin in his work, but you'll also hear Ethiopian folk music kind of drift in there. And it's in these times, especially when I was first approached by his labels, Unseen Worlds, I drove around with it during the pandemic. It's just really put you in a very peaceful place. And I think I could really advocate for his work in bringing a lot of peaceful moments to wherever he would perform. So you can let this play a little bit, you'll get a taste. So yeah, that's Germa. I put a few links down there to listen to some YouTube links to his music. It's also available to do residencies. I think it'd be a perfect opportunity for anybody that has like programs where they have long-term residencies. Like I said, he bridges so much between Western classical music and traditional Ethiopian art forms.
Thank you so much, Jim, and thank you for sharing those two artists, both you and yeah, really excited. Oh, and I'm echoing somehow, I think, but so I'm going to mute myself as quickly as possible and introduce George Muir.
Hi, sorry about that. I realized I had two devices. I think I've solved the problem. Hi, everybody. My name is George Muir. I have intersected with globalFEST as the manager for the Kurdish electro-balama player Tufan Derince, who appeared on the Tiny Desk Meets globalFEST series this year. And I'm super grateful for the opportunities that the globalFEST and has provided, and also Bill Bregan, consulting for the Dubai Expo, have created for him to reach audiences beyond his vast Kurdish public. And I'm working with Jim and Olivier at Multiflora for future plans. Right now, I'd like to zoom out on a wider angle, presenting the example of another amazing performer. Since the Taliban retook Afghanistan last summer, a subset of the fleeing population have been musicians such as Azim Bamiani. Fearing for his life as a Hazara, a professional musician and a reciter for Shi'i commemorations, Azim illegally crossed into Iran with his wife and 3 small children without passports and leaving behind all possessions. He is now in Tehran, struggling to support his family and living in fear of deportation. I had met Azim in Kabul when he was working with Dambura player and singer Abdurraouf Sarkhosh, who himself went on to undertake a risky and arduous overland and sea journey in 2011 to seek asylum in Sweden after receiving threats to his life. Here is a recording I made of them in 2006 with Azim playing a drum called the Zirbagali. Okay, thank you. I reconnected first with Raouf and then Azim after a few years. Azim, just as he told me he had hoped to do, had become a singer and keyboard player specializing in contemporary versions of popular Hazara songs, meant to keep young people in particular connected to their sense of cultural belonging. Here he is playing at a wedding in Kabul a year or so ago. Azim has sought my help in finding a safe passage out of Iran to somewhere other than Afghanistan. I really have no idea how I can help arrange this, and I have been, reaching out to a lot of people. But I did manage to contribute to a collective effort to raise funds for a new keyboard, and within days he was performing at programs for Hazaras in Tehran. And this is a clip from that, just a week or so ago. Even before the pandemic, I've been thinking about ways to use live streaming to connect performers and audiences across barriers created by political polarization, geographic distance, and economic inequalities. Interregional logistics and the minimizing of risk are not simple matters, but I believe that finding a way to harness the current momentum of video streaming as live music experience can enhance public support for uprooted refugee musicians whose freedom of movement is blocked. Azim is a musician who is acutely in my thoughts, and I am struggling to formulate a clear course of action. My most focused commitment is to build networks forging paths of mutual support and collaboration between extant networks of musicians, cultural activists, and presenters in disjunct spheres: Afghan, Baluch, Iranian, Kurdish, Iraqi, often by necessity using paths of digital connectivity, and in other cases thinking of how to include larger cohorts of these expansive networks rather than being content with showcasing representative samples. Thank you.
Thank you, George, and thank you for sharing that with us. I think this is a conversation definitely based on the chat that people are excited to continue, as we move into the other parts of the day. So hopefully that conversation, and I think any contact information you feel comfortable sharing, George, and links would also be very helpful. With that, we'll move on to Corinne Stein, who we got to hear speak briefly before.
Thanks, Ian. Just go ahead and start with the video, please. And then as soon as that's done, the roster picture.
Hola, soy Karin, soy miembro del dúo colombo-panameño Calle Sur. I'm Karin with the Colombian-Panamanian duo Calle Sur. Calle Sur is a member of Artes Latinas represented by Cadence Arts Network. I would love to share with you how we have celebrated our 20th, now 21st anniversary. We put together a new album which is fusing jazz piano with traditional and original Latin American music styles from all over. This is a program that we present not as a duo, but as a quartet, and it can be presented in intimate spaces or on large stages.
Okay, so I will just add to that Calle Sur can do this, of course, in Spanish, English, or both. We love reaching out to communities and integrate them, and we have several ideas for that. Okay, this is embarrassing. Lordy. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Better audio than video. Now here it was Rachel thinking that her connection would be unstable. Let me go through the roster of Rachel's Cadence Arts Network, because this is really her spot. Perla Batalla, amazingly smooth vocals and just such rich stage presence. Adawe, oh my goodness, Afro-rooted power. I mean, power is with a capital P. If you want humor along with musical excellence, then you go with Elvez and Otto and Astrid. Jocelyn and Don, who are on the Wavelengths, also is Adawe. Jocelyn of Adawe, and Jocelyn and Don are both on the Wavelengths conference. So please reach out to them with questions, and of course, Rachel as well. So Jocelyn and Don, wonderful roots music. Pamela Rose's Blues is Woman. Well, blues is woman, and they bring this to life. Unbelievably powerful vocals. Val Vigoda and her amazing violin, and Juval Ron, who opened my eyes to the diversity of Israeli and generally speaking Middle Eastern music. So please talk to Rachel. Don't know how good your connection is and if there's any more time, Rachel, but chime in.
Just want to thank you, Karin. Just want to mention, if you can all hear me, that Own Ensemble is touring again as well. We have tours available starting already this summer and onward, and I'm amazed at how many runouts. We're doing so many runouts. That's the thing. It's like one spots. It's amazing this year. The last what the pandemic has done. So please do give us a call. We're very friendly. We'd love to talk to you. If you don't know who I am, even though I've been around forever, please, my information is in the chat, and I'd love to speak with you.
And if anybody has questions about Artes Latinas, you've got a WhatsApp. I'm abroad. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you, Curry. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you for sharing that with us. Next, we have Vidhi Sala, who is right there.
Hello. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Wavelengths, for this opportunity, for accepting my pitch. Namaste. My name is Vidhi Sala. I live in Guildford, Vermont, the traditional home of the Abenaki people. Originally, I'm from Mumbai, India. I'm an independent cultural arts curator and host of the edutainment radio show Vidhi's Bollywood Jukebox. I'm excited to share with you all the developments of my specially curated movie watching experiences that I like to call Vidhiism events. They evolved from a film club that I curated online during the pandemic. My pop-up fairs have three distinct characteristics: a pre-screening introduction, a handicraft bazaar, and authentic Indian cuisine. These Indian movie fairs, I debuted this concept with successful pilot shows in my local community in Brattleboro, Vermont during the summer and fall of 2021. I strongly believe that context is important. So before every screening, I present a well-researched cultural introduction about the movie. The handicrafts I have curated directly from the makers. At venues that offer catered food, I work closely with the chefs to help them prepare Indian dishes, often sharing my personal recipes with them. I design my events so that audiences have a more wholesome movie outing. Events where people remember not just the movie, but everything around it, the great food, the music, the souvenirs made in India that people bring home as gifts to their loved ones. And above and beyond that, a community setting where people enjoy and appreciate a culture together. To me, it's important that people have come out to my event because they think it's worth their time, and I want them to have that great time. So allow me to just paint a picture for you of what you can expect at a Vidhism event. You walk into your local venue and you're greeted with funky Bollywood dance music. That sounds like this. Yeah. You're shopping at the handicraft stall, looking at brightly colored mirror work shawls and jewelry and accessories from India. The aroma of hot Indian snacks and chai is wafting from the food counter. You settle into your seats to watch the film. Then there's an intermission where you continue doing more of this eating, dancing, shopping. So this is basically what an Vidhism event is like. This year, I want to bring my interactive events to more community venues all over the US. The ideal venues for Vidhism events are music festivals, historic theaters, old churches converted to performance venues, community halls, and drive-in theaters. I'm also interested in working with educators to host movie events at community colleges and universities. I see that it can be a very good prelude to a music festival if there is Indian music involved, and I curate everything from the pre-screening music to whatever I just mentioned. So these events are celebratory, interactive, fun, and educational. And I'm excited to host a Vidhism event in your community. My contact details are up on the screen as Ian has had them, and please feel free to reach out for questions and anything else that you might want to ask.
Thank you so much, and what a great sort of immersive experience that you created, and I think it's such an exciting project.
Thank you.
We're moving on. Alexandra Gage speaking today, and I'll let her take it away.
Thank you, Ian. My name is Alexandra Gacci, and I'm the general manager at Monoville Records in New York City. We represent the artist El Houdi, and my pitch today is to tell you about Reflexión, the highly anticipated 5th studio album from this award-winning Latin artist, El Houdi. Music inspires us all. The vibrations ripple through the space between us. El Houdi is constantly exploring new sounds. They intersect somewhere between the cultures that she was raised in and the places that she called home: Spain, Lebanon, Ecuador, and New York City. Steeped in her greatest passion of songwriting, she welcomes you to drink from the cup of Reflexión, her antidote to the inconceivable isolation that we've all been recently experiencing. As a revered multi-instrumentalist, El Houdi developed hypnotic and undeniable melodies that are familiar and foreign all at once. With heavy guitar-driven grooves, rock, Latin, Middle Eastern, reggae, funk, and dance that wrap around stories of resilience, shelter, our borders, and the planet. With these, she empowers the Latinx community and champions for human rights. Touted as one of the top Latina guitar players in the world, she will celebrate the release of this new album, Reflexión, in the fall of 2022. And we will be touring with her power trio throughout 2022 and 2023 in the US, Mexico, and the Netherlands. El Houdi's stature, musicianship, and social engagement have allowed her to create new and deeply relevant connections virtually with new audiences in the time of COVID, but there is no substitute for the thrill of being on stage and creating a unique, symbiotic musical bubble with a live audience. Won't you join me now to watch parts of 2 festival performances from this past fall of 2021? One was virtual and one live. We would love the opportunity to share this new music from Reflexión with your community on social media, over the airwaves, or if the cosmos allows, live and in person. Please be in touch with us. I'll drop a contact in the chat, and here's a little bit of El Houdi live.
Esta noche llena de ternura, acércate más, ámame. Esta noche llena de ternura, acércate más. Sigo adelante. Favor.
thank you so much for listening. I'd love to talk more about El Hudi. I've dropped in my contact in the chat. Look forward to it. And thank you, Wavelength, for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alexandra. And thank you for sharing that with us. And what a beautiful selection of music there. Next, we have Craig Hyman, who's going to talk us through the Heart of Afghanistan project.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. It's nice to see everyone again. Thanks for having me on. My name is Craig Hyman. My company is Numinous Music, and I reside here in Los Angeles. In the interest of time, because I could see we're already over, and the fact that I just came on board with this project days ago, I'm just going to lean heavy on my notes and read them. So I feel fortunate to be involved with American Voices for this timely project, Heart of Afghanistan, for which I'll be operating as creative consultant and booking agent. Please know that this project is brand new and just came together about a week ago, so I don't have any visuals to share with you, but within the next couple of weeks, I'll have live performance, audio and video recordings should anyone be interested. The Heart of Afghanistan project excuse me, consists of 4 Afghan musicians, Ahmad Fanous on vocals and harmonium, his 2 sons Elham on piano and Miran on violin and tabla player to be determined. Together they will tell the story of Afghanistan from its pre-Islamic Buddhist heritage through traditional ghazals based on the Sufi-inspired poetry of Rumi, who was born in Afghanistan, and the Afghan Elvis pop icon Ahmad Zahir of the 60s and 70s, who took the music of Elvis Presley and translated it into Dari and performed it with traditional instrument ensemble. The idea is to give a 360-degree view of the Afghan culture through music, poetry, art, and cultural heritage. There will be some multimedia as visuals to support the show, and the show is also being offered without that. I'm primarily interested in having the show presented at colleges, universities, world music festivals, museums, and also theaters, concert halls, and summer series when it makes sense. We'll be offering educational workshops along with community outreach and panels along with the live performances. We'll be launching the program in New York City in May. Details coming soon, and I'll be inviting presenters and press to that performance. I've already started holding dates, and I'm now booking from late May 2022 through December 2023 in the US, and I'm open to conversations about later dates if anyone was interested. So there are the 4 musicians. All 4 musicians are recent immigrants from the fall of Kabul in August, now living in the US permanently, mostly on the East Coast. In case you don't know, Ahmad Fanous is considered to be one of the deans of Afghan music and vocals. He was the host of a popular Afghan TV show called Afghan Star, which was on Tolo TV. And if I had to put this into an elevator pitch, I would say Heart of Afghanistan is a night of music, poetry, and iconic images of cultural treasures from the pre-Islamic Buddhist era, ancient dynasties, Sufi ghazals, and the Elvis-influenced pop music in the 60s and 70s. Join the recently airlifted Fanous family for traditional musicians as they take on a personal journey through the vast sweep of Afghani art. I look forward to hearing from anyone that's interested. I put my, pardon me, the title of the project, Heart of Afghanistan, and my email address in the chat. So it's Craig, CraigShyman @gmail.com. Send me an email if you want to talk. Just private message me. I'll give you my number and we can chat on the phone. And thank you for your time. Stay healthy, everyone. Stay safe. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Matt. What a new project that already seems like you are very excited about. So thank you so much for sharing that. And our final pitch for the evening is Matt Garrity and the Afro-Andean Funk. And we're so excited to have you here and to close out our pitch session today.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Ian. Hello, everybody. I am Araceli Poma. I am happy to share with you the music and culture of Peru. Guys, when you think of Peru, what do you think of? Maybe Machu Picchu, maybe ayahuasca, llamas, Indian culture, right? Yes, of course, but Peru is so much more. We are a mix of cultures with Spanish roots, indigenous Indian roots, and African roots too. This speech is very important for us because Peru is a country and a culture that very few people know about. I met Matt in my country, in Peru, when he was filming a documentary about my Afro Peruvian music. Now I am living in New York City, and we have a band. It's called Afro Indian Funk. Matt and I have given concerts in New York City and Europe and have given workshops at universities on the importance of my culture, right? It's people and its native instruments like my donkey jawbone,
Quijada.
quijada de burro, que es un instrumento afroperuano, quijada de burro, and so that this valuable legacy is not lost, Matt.
Again, thanks everyone for joining us. The project that we have that Araceli was mentioning is Afro-Andean Funk, and we're going to play a clip in a moment for our latest performance that we did in Portugal right around the time of Womex. We have duo format, trio, quartet. We cover like the whole gamut for like styles, traditional roots music of Peru, but we mix it the Andean and Afro-Peruvian traditions with American and funk and world music. And we also integrate elements of electronica. And we're recording our first album in a month, but we've been really active. And what we're going to do is share our screen here and show you a minute clip and let everyone get on their way. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Maybe Catherine or Ian, you could share the or give me a host.
Para los dolores, agua del olvido. Para el mal de amores, agua del olvido. Para el que ha sufrido, agua del olvido. Si guardan rencores, agua del olvido. Los celos te matan, agua del olvido. Traumas de la infancia, agua del olvido. Si el alma te pena, agua del olvido. La gente te engaña, agua del olvido. Vengo sanando, vengo curando. Vengo sanando, vengo curando. Y cura buena, trabajando. Vengo sanando, vengo curando. Vengo sanando, vengo curando. Vengo sanando, vengo curando. Y cura buena, trabajando. Vengo sanando, vengo curando.
So thanks again. We are Afro-Andean Funk. We also are heavily into documentary producing. We have 2 documentaries that we've released, one that was nominated for a Latin Grammy, The Warrior Women of Afro-Peruvian Music, and we just launched Guerreras Puertorriqueñas. Both projects bring visibility to women artists in the Americas. So stay tuned for our new recording. Our booking manager, Chris, is also here. You can reach out to her. She's cultural resource for Haitian music. She's involved in a lot of different projects, but we'll send our information through the chat here. Thank you, everyone, afroandeanfunk.com. See you on the flip side, and thanks, Ian.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much for being here. And again, if you could put any contact information in the chat for people interested in learning more. And thank you to everyone who shared their projects and their work and what they're looking forward to and different ways that we can be active in this space.